you join me back on the Puffing Billy video. If you can hear my laptop taking off, it's because I'm rendering the previous video. I'm doubling up. Let's do this. So here we have the finished Puffing Billy 3D model, I think. I don't think I added anything else to it. We're going to now focus on getting it out of Blender and into all the appropriate things like the model viewer. So right now I'm creating an environment for it. You can see I've got it called M4 Puffing Billy. Name it Puffing Billy there. Oh, I'm so sorry, this is so blurry. I've turned it down so much, but it records at a much better rate and I can play it back much quicker. Hang on, I think 6 now is the limit. 6.8. There we go. Look how fast that's going. So I'm expertly now, using the mouse at like 1,000,000 miles an hour. Got to speed this one up. It's a 50-minute recording. Anyway, so what I'm doing, I am getting artifacts again. I am creating the environment using my old Aganoia mod as a baseline. I'm just taking out some of the stuff, taking out all the meshes that I won't need in preparation for exporting the meshes from Blender. There we go, Billy tender. There we go. I'm using the same tender as sample I. Right, let's export. So we've got the Billy body. Gonna export that. That says Billy wheel. That one. It says Billy crank or Billy gear. There we go. This is Billy crank. Oop, there we go. Billy beam as well. There we go. Billy crank. What's this one? Billy piston. Yes. And then you've got some more artifacts. You've got Billy something else. I couldn't read that really. Anyway, it's all being exported. Put it in there. Copy it. There's all the meshes and the blobs. Slow it down a little bit. I've no idea how bad the quality on the actual finished article is going to be. If this is like a low quality video being recorded by another low quality Blender, it's probably going to be unviewable. But whatever, if you shrink it down to a 360p window, you get the gist of what's going on, and that's why I'm doing the voiceover. If you can hear it over my fans on my computer. So at the moment, I'm just going through the old Aganoia MDL file, changing everything to reference the new mesh files. So this one will be Billy Piston. There we go. This is Billy Beam. That's Billy Beam again. I get rid of most of this. This is to see if the thing can even import properly. So Billy Crank, Billy Crank again. Just get rid of that. Don't need that. Make sure everything works. Got Billy Tender. Add the other MTL file because that specific tender requires 2 different MTL files. Give it a little bit of description. Le Puff. I might actually just leave it as that. I like it. And also got the Wild and Colliery Puffing Billy, which is what it is. We're going to leave the emissions for now. Add in the appropriate wheel assignment. Don't want that. Get rid of that. Add that for later. Give it a sound set that I've not created yet, and there we go. Let's see if it imports into model editor. Of course, I know it imports. I've done it already, so it's going to pop into existence about now. And we've got sound. Get that. So you can see it's got an animation already. It's already using the Aganoia animations, but we're going to see if we can change that because obviously it's incorrect and incredibly wrong. This is what most of this video is going to be. So if you like watching me animate in Notepad. If you like watching me animate in Notepad, then today's your lucky day. If you don't, then I'm very sorry, but you're going to spend until you click off this video watching me slowly animate Puffing Billy in Notepad. We'll speed this up a bit, and then also in a second we're going to get rudely interrupted by Sony Movie Studio telling me that I have finished recording or rendering out the previous video that I've made. But hey ho, that's the pleasure you get from these low production quality videos of just me talking over footage I've already recorded. Hey ho. I could do better, but I'm not going to. I don't see why I should. I'm not here to be a great YouTuber. I'm just here to share my experience in modding. So, not many people do that. I know a few people do, but I want to be one of those people so you can see behind the scenes of what I create. There's no point in me telling you what I'm doing right now, because all of what I'm doing is about to get erased. Because everything's in the wrong place, and I also realise I've failed to export half the engine. And I can't actually do any of the proper exporting or any of the animation until I get that gear in place, the gear that the coupling rod actually turns around. Hang on, is this finished yet? Yeah, that's done. Okay, we're going to explore folder for that, bring that up, and I'll put that on YouTube in a minute when I finish recording this one. Close that down. No, I don't want to save, I've already made the video. Back here again. Okay, you can see I'm putting the crank now on the bottom left hand side, just trying to line up the crank with the gear. I named things wrong. The crank is the gear, the throw arm is the crank, and I'm just so confused. So there we go. You can see you've got some animation there, but it's all entirely wrong. I'm just trying to figure out where the positioning is and why isn't it lining up. It lined up in Blender. Why isn't it lining up here? Turns out I actually did it wrong in Blender. Shock horror, I do something incorrect. I know. I am not humble. Or am I? I don't know. I'm being stared at by a cat. Do you want tummy tickles? Is that what you want? Oh no, you're just going to eat my hand. Okay, that's fine. That's because you're bored watching this video. I know, so are the viewers. There's Puffing Billy again. We'll get rid of that. Ah! that. So that behind there that you just saw, this is an application that I developed to produce keyframes. You saw it briefly in one of my previous videos in Novelty. Now you can see here it's producing all the different timing elements that I need to go into the animation. So it calculates how long the total animation will be that Transport Fever likes. So if it depends on axle height. So one rotation of the wheel going forward. So if I put my axle height as, let's say, 1, it equals a number. I'll show you the calculations at some point. I will talk you through that because I do want to make this little sheet here public. So I know a lot of people do animations, especially for steam locomotives. At the moment I'm just figuring out all the different intervals I need for 90 degrees, for 360 degree spinning. I'm kind of stupid, I forgot one of the numbers. But there we go. So now you can see that animates in a circle, but it's not smooth enough. The way Transport Fever 2 animates spin, it's via keyframes. So this now has to be 20 different keyframes, which I've typed into that number there, and it's calculating 20 different timings for keyframes. And the total time stayed the same as the axle height, which is 0.825, has stayed the same. So now I'm just typing in all these values so I can get smooth rotation of the crank axle. This is what I also did for Trevithick and the Penny Darren engines. I think I also used 20 keyframes there. Pop all this in. I obviously do something wrong here because Model Viewer crashes when I save this. I have to reload it. I think I missed a comma. And the last number, there we go. Go to Model Viewer, realise I haven't saved it, so I go back and save it, and Model Viewer I think just crashes. If I recall. Yeah, try to load it in again and it dies. So, there we are. Back in. Puffing Billy. Put in all the degrees as well. So 360 divided by 20 gives you intervals of 18, so you got 18, 36, 54, 72. So these are the different intervals that it will animate to. This is very boring, I know. I'm no James May, I can't really explain it that well. I really wish my laptop wasn't taking off when trying to record this because it's very loud and you can't hear it. You can't hear my voice properly. Let's see if I can make the fans not go berserk. I need that. I don't need that. There we go. Saved a little bit of memory. Excuse me. This is a long video. Well, as you can see, the time is getting towards the end. I'm winding through this. I do only animate one side. I've only recorded me animating one side because then the animating time was doubled, and you didn't need to see that. That'd be a very long video and a large recording from OBS. So you can see now. Okay, so I've gotten the full reach. You see how far the crank axle spins, and the throw arm now goes that entire distance. What I just did in Blender then, by the way, was change the origin of the throw arm, just so it's easier to animate against the beam. Export it again, so you can see now that the origin has changed, so I just changed the height back to where it was before, but now it's easier to animate, because I don't have to worry about following an arc at the bottom. I just worry about changing the angle of the beam, of the throw arm. Oh my goodness, all these terms. So it follows the crank axle around. You can see I'm just figuring out what degrees I need. It's pretty close. Not bad, so just do that in reverse on the other side. Oh yeah, that looked not bad. We'll keep that for now. Now we'll try and animate the beam. You can see, look on your top left. There you can see in that little enclosed window that I have. I don't know why I have that up there. You can see Model Viewer clearly enough, but you can see that the beam is now starting to follow the throw arm relatively well. I'm just trying to figure out how much of an angle I need. Let's see if I can speed up a little bit more for you. Not a lot of rendering going on here. It's becoming a pain in the backside at this point, trying to get it to all line up properly. We can see now we've got the two main components going, so I'm going to try and also line up the piston. At this point, I realise I've not actually exported this. The reason I haven't exported that little part of the engine, which is the parallel motion, is because it contains n-gons. And it doesn't like that, so I have to first square that off, make it sure it all contains tris or quads, and then I re-export it again. It's called P motion for parallel motion. So then there we go. So that animates. It's got the origin in the right place. I just got to put it in the right area of the steam engine, line it up. So I'll lower it, raise it. There we go. It's in the right place. Now I've just got to animate that to follow the junction. When you see it working fully, you understand kind of what it does. It looks kind of weird now as well, because it's still got the colour scheme from Aganoia, and the tender is huge for some bizarre reason. But in the next video, you will see that everything comes together. And I'm very nearly finished animating one side of the locomotive. I think I cut the video slightly short because it hits the 50-minute mark and the file starts getting a bit too big. There we go, so that video's done. So join me again for another part of this where I'll continue from where I left off near enough, and we'll start to get the engine looking a bit more like a Transport Fever asset, and we'll get it in the game, and we'll get it working. And my battery's running low, isn't that fun?